It's just a thread, right? Thin, red, wrapped around the left wrist. Something you've seen on spiritual teachers, mystics, maybe even strangers on the street. But why? Why did ancient masters across cultures, Kabbalists, Hindus, Buddhists, Taoists, all use this simple thread? Because it's not just a symbol, it's a seal, a lock on the body's most vulnerable portal, a tether to higher energy, a warning to forces unseen. This one is protected. Let's go deeper. In ancient traditions, the left side of the body was seen as receptive. It receives energy, emotion, intuition, influence. Your right hand is your sword. Your left is your shield. And the left wrist? It's a pressure point, both physical and energetic. It's directly tied to the heart meridian in Chinese medicine and the lunar nadi in yogic science, meaning whatever touches your left wrist doesn't just touch skin, it touches inward flow, it touches your soul's open gate, and that's exactly why the red thread was placed there. But why red? Red is more than color, it's frequency. In nearly every culture, red represents life force, blood fire, vitality, divine protection, war and love. At the same time, red is primal. It speaks before language. It vibrates like danger to darkness and safety to light. By tying a red thread to the left wrist, the ancients were coding their field, like programming a filter. Let in truth, block distortion, hold intention. It was never just a ritual. It was a technology of energy. The knot wasn't accidental either. Kabbalists tied 7 knots while reciting specific names of protection. Tantrics tied it during mantra chanting and visualization. Taoists saw the knot as a symbol of unity, of the inner and outer worlds looping back into one another. It's quiet magic, hidden in plain sight. And yet, most people wear it now as fashion. No understanding, no activation, no intention. But intention is the key. Because if you tie the thread without it, it's just cotton. But if you charge it with will, clarity, energy, it becomes a living boundary. In Part 2, we'll explore how this red thread interacts with your aura and why the ancients believed it could repel energetic parasites, emotional vampires, and even karmic residue. But for now, ask yourself, what are you allowing to enter through your left side without permission? Energy doesn't just flow within you, it moves around you. Every emotion you feel, every room you enter, every person you speak to leaves a mark in your energetic field. The ancients called this the aura, or Wei Qi in Taoist terms, your energetic skin, your boundary, your invisible armor. But here's the catch. Your aura isn't static. It stretches when you're relaxed. It thins when you're tired. It tears when you're emotionally overwhelmed. That's when things slip in. Ever walked into a room and suddenly felt heavy? Talked to someone and left feeling drained? Had a dream that didn't feel like yours? That's not random. That's energetic intrusion. And the left wrist, being your body's receiving gate, is often the first place these energies enter. That's why the red thread matters. When charged with intention, it acts like a frequency lock, not a shield of stone, but a vibration. Anything out of resonance with your intention, whether emotional residue, psychic debris, or parasitic frequencies, gets deflected, not with force, with incompatibility. Think of it like this. Your body is a sacred house. The left wrist is the front door, and the red thread is the password-protected threshold, but only if you activate it. The ancients didn't just tie it and walk away. They infused it with breath, prayer, mantra, vision. Kabbalists would recite the Ana Bekoach. Tantric practitioners used bija mantras. Taoists visualized the thread as a serpent of fire wrapping the wrist, burning away distortion. And most importantly, they tied it in awareness. Not while scrolling, not while distracted. They made it a moment of programming, because energy responds to awareness, not motion, not ritual, presence. When you tie that thread with full attention, breathing into your left palm, holding an image of protection, wholeness, clarity, you code the thread. You turn it from string into sigil, and you'll notice shifts. You stop feeling drained after certain interactions. People's projections bounce off instead of stick. Your own mind feels sharper, less invaded. A subtle sense of containment, like your aura has edges again. This isn't superstition. It's energetic hygiene, and the red thread is the tool. In Part 3, we'll dive into how this thread acts as a consciousness tether, keeping you grounded during spiritual practice, emotional storms, and energetic expansion. Plus, when you shouldn't wear it. But for now, close your eyes, place your left hand on your heart, and ask yourself, who's been feeding on your field while you weren't looking? Now the rhythm begins. Up until now, you've been practicing initiation, waking the dragon, directing breath, lighting the lower furnace. But real power lies in pulse. Breath without rhythm is energy without command. And the Taoists knew this. They trained in what's called the 3-pulse cycle, a breathing rhythm that aligns the 3 main energy centers of the body: lower dantian, vitality; middle dantian, emotion; upper dantian, intuition. Here's how it works. Pulse 1. Breathe deep into the lower belly. Feel the pressure collect at the root. This is storage, your battery. Hold for a moment, letting heat build. Pulse 2. Exhale slowly and fully, drawing the energy upward to the heart. Don't force it. Let it rise with awareness. Feel the warmth in your chest begin to glow. Pulse 3. Inhale again, but this time, draw it up to the head. Imagine the breath reaching the crown. Hold, then release downward, slow, steady, like pouring light through your spine. That's 1 cycle. Repeat this 3-pulse breath, slowly, silently, for 9 to 12 rounds. Each time, feel the dragon rise, then settle. Rise, then settle. You'll notice The spine begins to feel alive, like a hollow channel. The mind clears. The heart softens. A strange heat radiates from the inside out. This is no longer breath work. This is energy architecture. You are no longer just breathing. You are building flow pathways within your subtle body. And with repetition, these paths solidify. Your awareness expands. Your presence deepens. And your nervous system recalibrates to stillness, not stress. This is how ancient masters entered standing meditation for hours, without fatigue. They weren't fighting stillness. They were fed by it. And here's the part most people miss. You don't have to master this in caves. You don't need robes, incense, or isolation. You need discipline of breath, because when you own your inhale and exhale, you no longer get owned by noise, chaos, or fear. And if you've followed along this far, it means something in you remembers, something ancient, something powerful. So don't stop here. Subscribe and hit the bell, not for me, but for you. Because breath is no longer automatic. It's intentional, and the next part will take you even deeper. There's a moment in the practice when breath stops being a tool and starts becoming a state. You're no longer doing dragon's breath. You are it. The body breathes, yes, but you are the stillness behind the breath. You become space, silent, aware, and vividly alive. This is the state Taoist monks called Wu Wei, effortless action. Breath moves, energy flows, but the mind, quiet, unforced, commanding without control. You begin to notice things others miss. A faint hum behind the noise, pulses in your fingertips, light flickers when your eyes are closed. Even subtle thoughts begin to feel dense, like objects moving through your field. You're entering internal listening. You're no longer just breathing for oxygen. You're breathing to perceive. Because dragon's breath doesn't just fuel the body, it sharpens the field. Your aura tightens. Your boundaries strengthen. You start to repel distortion without confrontation. You become a tuning fork. Anything out of tune with your system begins to shake or disappear. This is why Taoist breathwork was kept secret. Because when misused, it amplifies ego. But when honored, it purifies the lens of consciousness. One breath, and your mind gets clearer. 10 breaths, and your body relaxes into a deeper alignment. 100 breaths, and you don't just feel better. You see the world differently. You feel more, but you react less. You understand faster, but speak slower. You become more magnetic, not by effort, but by coherence. Now your breath doesn't follow your thoughts. Your thoughts follow your breath. And the body? It becomes an instrument, not of survival, but of signal. A channel for awareness, a mirror for truth, a home for peace. You'll notice a gentle smile appearing for no reason, emotions surfacing, then dissolving, people calming down just by being near you, a sense of rightness that doesn't need validation. And here's the secret. You haven't added anything. You've just removed the static. Dragon's breath clears the noise, sharpens the signal, and turns your nervous system into an antenna for deeper reality. This is the power hidden in simplicity. This is why the dragon sleeps in the spine until called by breath. In the next part, we'll explore how to hold this energy outside practice, during stress, conflict, even while walking or working, so your dragon is always alive, always alert. But for now, ask yourself, what would your life look like if stillness was your default state? You've trained the breath. You've felt the current rise. You've touched the silence beneath movement. Now comes the real challenge. Can you hold the dragon in everyday life? Most people meditate in stillness, but collapse in chaos. They breathe with presence alone, but shallow out the moment real life begins. This is the test, not of breath, but of integration. Dragon's breath must follow you into arguments, into rush hour, into deadlines, emails, street noise, into temptation, distraction, emotional storms, not as a technique, but as a thread of awareness that never breaks. So how do you do it? It begins with subtle breath anchoring. You don't have to stop what you're doing. You just shift how you breathe while doing it. Slow the inhale, lengthen the exhale. Draw awareness into your lower belly, even while walking, listening, or typing. This creates an energetic buffer. You stop absorbing chaos. You start radiating coherence. People around you calm down without knowing why. You become the still point in the spinning world because your energy field isn't reacting anymore. It's broadcasting, and that shift changes everything. You make decisions from intuition, not anxiety. Speak with impact, not volume. Feel emotions, but don't drown in them. Become magnetic, not for approval, but for truth. This is the way of the dragon. Silent, focused, coiled, not to strike, but to command space with presence. Taoist warriors trained breath in motion. They practiced dragon's breath while walking, chopping wood, carrying water. Because real mastery isn't tested on the mat, it's tested in the marketplace. Can you stay soft, yet rooted, quiet, yet awake, fluid, yet immovable? When the answer becomes yes, everything aligns, time slows, attention sharpens. You sense what's coming before it happens. You stop reacting. You start responding. And here's the unexpected gift. You begin to feel grateful for everything. Not because life got easier, but because you became stronger. Your breath stopped being your reaction to life. It became your rhythm through it. In the final part, we'll unlock the legacy of dragon's breath, how it reshapes your purpose, sharpens your path, and reveals the version of yourself you were born to become. And we'll end with one question you won't be able to ignore. You've followed the breath through silence. You felt the dragon stir. You've stood in stillness while the world spun. Now comes the final step. Embodiment. Breath isn't something you do anymore. It's what you are. You speak differently. You walk differently. You no longer react. You transmit. Your nervous system has rewired. Your field has thickened. You've shed the identity that once clenched your breath and stepped into the one that commands it. And that's what Dragon's Breath is really about. Not power for the sake of power, but the return of energetic sovereignty. Most people live as receivers. They absorb the noise, tension, projections of others. They leak presence. They beg for balance. But now, you create balance from within. You've lit the inner furnace. You've cleared the static. You've tuned the instrument. Now, you lead with frequency. That means you walk into rooms and energy shifts before you speak. You sense dissonance before words are spoken. You guide without force. You attract without chasing. You heal by simply being aligned. This is not magic. It's not mysticism. It's biology aligned with consciousness. Dragon's Breath doesn't just make you calm. It makes you clear. It cuts through fog, not just in others, but in you. You'll find that your intuition gets sharper, your desires get cleaner, your vision gets louder. You no longer follow your breath. It follows you, and from here, life begins to shift. The right people appear. The wrong ones fade. The path becomes less forced. You begin to remember why you're here. Because the breath has unlocked not just power, but purpose. Now you are the dragon, not as myth, not as symbol, but as presence. So here's the question that remains. If every breath could reshape your reality, why would you ever give that power away again?